So hello and welcome to this week's angling blog. This week you join me out on the banks of the reservoir and we're in search of roach. Being an angler that's on the bank every week of the year, I see some amazing things, but that takes some beating. A reservoir at first light, there's fish literally topping all over. We've been on here recently where there's been waves lapping up the bank, and today hopefully we'll get a few hours in with that float dotted right down. The gear's in the water, just got to set the rod up, which I set at home last night, and that's a sunrise that just keeps on getting better and better. A bit more complete now with the bait weighted in and the keep net. But yeah, fish topping absolutely everywhere. What a beautiful place this place is. So it's been one of those long weeks in work. We're finally out at the weekend, and yeah, when I've been sat at my desk this week, this is the view I've been dying to see. You can see these fish just topping everywhere. We're out in the reservoir. Hopefully we're going to get a few bites. Another reason for being super excited, I had the delivery this week of the new Korum Classic rod. It's 1.25 pound test curve. And also had a delivery of the new dreamcast reel, and I've put some £4 line on that. Looking at the side tray, super simple. I've got sweet corn and I've got Hinder's hemp, and that's all I've got with me. Two simple baits, and yeah, you can see there the fish are topping literally there, so I'm not going to go too far out. So I'm just going to feed some hemp into the swim nice and positively. We've got plenty with us in reserve. You see there, we're not going too far out, we're just a nice distance. It's not too deep out there. I'm gonna put a few grains of corn just over the top. So the first cast of the day over that hemp, and we're definitely casting into the sun today, and that looked a bit ominous behind me. Looked a bit tenchy or a bit carpy. But if you get that reference, casting into the sun, props to you. There we go. It wasn't a shock, was it, to start like that? There's so many fish topping. In the early light, what a beautiful sight that is, just to be playing a roach on the first cast. Does angling get any better than that? I don't think so. And there we go, the first roach on a new rod, a new reel called the Dreamcast. And I guess that sums it up perfectly. A dream cast first thing in the morning, with that sun just coming over the horizon. A beautiful roach in the palm. I didn't even have a chance to settle then the float. There's plenty of fish out there, most definitely. It's definitely a day where you're going to have to feed before you cast, because the bites are that quick. I'm feeding positively with that corn. You see, nice and close in, we're on top of that shelf, and it's just a case of casting over the top of that bait. Watch out for the duck. There we go. Beautiful fishing, and like it always is on here. And what we'll do now is we'll leave the GoPro on, we'll just enjoy a bit of roach fishing. And as you've seen there, we've had a few bites in that early bit of the session, and it just feels good to be on the bank at first light. And as anglers, it's a time of day that we all see, isn't it? And days like today I really do enjoy on the reservoir, because I've been on here when there's been waves lapping in and the wind howling in my face. So days like this I really do love. And you can see there's fish everywhere. It's a beautiful reservoir, you know, nice and natural, and a beautiful place just to be. So that's how much hemp we're feeding into the swim each cast. Being nice and positive. We got plenty with us, and we might not be on the bank a long time today, but you've got to be positive. Every other cast feeding a nice positive pouch of corn. Like I said, there's plenty of mouths to feed, like we saw this morning. So yeah, you've got to be positive. And when you get that feeding right, you can get these fish right close in. You can see there how close in we're fishing. But hopefully it just shows those that are new to fishing how close in you can catch fish. I mean, we're not too far out in the reservoir today, and we're getting plenty of bites off these roach. So in an attempt to make filming a bit easier, I've come almost parallel with the bank and just started feeding down there. You can see there's fish topping there already, just to make filming it's that little bit easier with that sun in my face. But we are literally now just parallel with the bank. So just catching these fish now, literally you can see the bank in the shot. And I'm sure we'd catch if we were out there, most definitely, but that sun is a bit of a nightmare. So again, going to be nice and positive. We can see there's plenty of fish topping down there, so going to feed nice and positive with that hemp. Just try and draw them fish towards us. See, there's plenty of fish topping. Being nice and positive with the feed. You can see how close in you can catch fish. You can see there, plenty of bites. There is the increase down there, obviously, of the mussel beds and that, and there's a bit of weed we're going to have to contend with, but you can see there, just getting steady bites now and putting together a nice net. Doesn't take too long for them roach to turn up. You see, you can feel it getting stuck in a bit of weed every now and again, but it just shows the quality fish that you can catch really close to the bank. Again, feeding before we're casting in, because there's plenty of fish in the swim. That float doesn't really get too long to settle. We've got that number 8 dropper shot. It's going to fall nicely through the water, but at the moment I'm just feeding really positively with a bit of bait and then going over the top of it for a few casts. You see there, making a nice bed of bait in the margin. It's a case of just casting over the top, looking for them 2 plops of your bait and the float. And there we go. It is beautiful fishing. Nice, steady, in a routine, getting plenty of bites. And as a setup, being a 12-foot rod, that reel is balancing perfect. There's no weight in it at all, and it's just nice, easy fishing. And that's what you want from a setup. You don't want it to be heavy. You want it to be balanced. And yeah, catching these roach now down the margin. Coming up to about 7 o'clock in the morning now, so we've been at it for probably 2-3 hours. And yeah, plenty of fish still topping. A few anglers on the bank. 1 or 2 bubbles in the swim, which I'm hoping his missed attention gives us a battle on this rod. And yeah, you can't beat that, can you? And that's an absolutely stunning roach, that, in immaculate condition. And maybe not the biggest fish of the day, but definitely the fish of the day. It's a beautiful roach, that. And when we went down this margin, we talked about how close in we were catching these fish, and that's a clonking fish, that. There's actually been fish bubbling in the swim, which I think's been tench, but there's been carp about as well. So no doubt if you stuck at it, you'd catch them as well. But it just shows on a massive reservoir like this how close in you can catch these fish. So we started fishing about 4:30 this morning. It's now 8:15. So we've had a few hours fishing, and you can't complain at that, can you, for a few hours on the float. Most of them have come down the margin, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this week's vlog. If you have been out this weekend, I hope you've had a few bites. And all that remains is for me to wish you all tight lines in your own fishing, and I'll catch you all next week. Tight lines.